With many mixed reactions to this movie before it came out and plenty of skepticism from longtime fans, I think it has shocked so many people to see just how good the new movie Predator: Killer of Killers actually is. In this video, I'm going to break down why this latest chapter in the Predator franchise is exactly what fans have been looking for years, and how it is a more exciting entry than it's getting credit for. From its brutal action to the deeper lore it explores of the Predators themselves, Killer of Killers might just be the path the series needs to follow, and is a sign that the future of Predator is a lot more promising than people think it is. I think it is best to start this video off by telling you all why I think the Predator franchise needed this movie. Now, whether or not you are somebody who is still on board or not on board with the idea that it was done in the animated format, conceptually, it was absolutely something this franchise needed to do in order to stay relevant once again. The original first film is still my favorite, and I think holds up to this day, but you could definitely make a case for Killer of Killers to be the coolest new entry yet. An anthology series is something that many fans have been wanting for so long, where you follow predators as they fight all different kinds of characters in different eras from different factions of being military of some kind or other various types of killers, as the title implies. This represents the complete idea of what predators are meant to do in the first place, which is to hunt these people down, and if, say, they are defeated, their killers are taken in by other predators back to their home world. That is essentially what we get here with this movie, following all three different stories. It's an idea on paper that I think also does work a lot better with being animated, because you don't have to force yourself to make it on a large-scale budget, which I don't believe this movie was made for. The violence and action is also way more defined and has a style to it that fits each era, and that's exactly what any fan wants coming into a Predator film. For that reason, I'm also glad they chose these three specific eras, following a Viking, a samurai, and a World War II fighter pilot, because each is unique to their culture. Vikings are brutal, brash, and fight without hesitance. Samurais fight more slowly, methodically, and do so with honor and integrity. And then you have the fighter pilot, someone who thinks they are the biggest and best killer of the skies, until the Predator comes around with something even better, and so they have to try and figure out a new way to defeat something that you shouldn't be able to defeat at all, given how much more advanced in technology the Predators are. The other great thing this movie does is that it makes the Predators cool and similar enough to their opponents in design and other features. The Viking Predator is huge and packs a punch through the use of its size, like how Vikings do it. The Samurai Predator is sleek, faster, and slimmer, but takes its time to find the right moments to one-up its opponents. The World War II Predator is just one that knows his way around a ship and uses that as his weapons. It's simple, unique, but also makes things way more interesting to watch. It's a huge difference between many of the past installments this franchise has given us, where they just felt like they were trying way too hard to retread the original film while using as many callbacks to pertain to it. Some of these sequels and spin-off kinds of films did feel a little bit on the nose and felt like they were trying to be made to make money off their IP's name. That's where movies like Prey and Killer of Killers find their stride. They feel and flow like they are movies in the universe without thinking like they need to remind you that they are a part of the universe and tell you as much. They expand the world of Predator in a way just enough to where you are not being overwhelmed with anything and you're not being given too little. It's their biggest strength, and it's continued here with this new film beautifully. When talking about each of the storylines we get, the Viking one was the first one we start with, and it's my second favorite. It follows one main lead, Ursa, who embarks on a mission with other Vikings to seek vengeance against Zoran, a man who murdered Ursa's father and her entire clan. Once they reach Zoran's village, it's nothing but brutal violence, some great tracking shots of the action, and then of course, the Predator shows up after Ursa and her group dispatch of Zoran. This Predator is easily maybe one of the biggest the franchise has shown off, and I love that, like the Vikings, he's just as brutal and brash as they are in his combat style. After killing everyone, only Ursa remains, and their battle is very entertaining and mainly comprised of environmental combat, which makes for when Ursa kills the Predator all the more satisfying. I also just love that they make it apparent that Ursa can duel in these extremely harsh and cold conditions. She is someone who knows this environment, and if it was anyone else, I would think that they'd struggle a little bit more against that Predator. The ending ending sees her embrace her son, who also met his end, and with everyone around her gone now, she probably felt like she had nothing left and couldn't do anything more with herself. She killed the man who ended her entire family and clan, she killed an alien, and lost her son all in the span of like 10 to 20 minutes. That's until we see her get taken in by the other predators on their ship, and we see the samurai beside her, which transitions us into his story. This second story takes us back to the time of feudal Japan, as we see two brothers who are being trained to seemingly take up the role of the head samurai in their region. To all the history nerds watching the video, please do correct me on that if I just got it completely wrong. One of the brothers, Kenji, is ousted in defeat, while the other one wins in a duel to grow old in that position. One day, when Kenji is on a quest to assassinate the brother after their mentor dies, we see that a predator is waiting for the right moment, just like in the Viking story. After Kenji defeats his brother and he falls off the roof, that's when the predator strikes, and we get the same sequence as the first story. The predator just mowing through all the tower guards to get to Kenji, and then they get back on solid ground. We see that the brother survived and now in lockstep with Kenji to fight off this predator. This sequence was so awesome, and I think the best aspect of it was that they made it feel like you were watching an actual samurai duel. The brothers one up on the predator, and in a final move, they charge at one another and slice through each other in the middle where the predator was invisible, just waiting for them. A brutal way for a predator to go out, but yet so satisfying at the same time. Finally, after defeating it, the brothers kneel beside each other in one final moment that is very emblematic of a samurai story, as the other brother dies of his wounds, and we cut to see Kenji on board the ship thinking back to those moments. That is the main reason the samurai anthology story is my favorite of the three. It was so beautifully done, and of course, I'm a stickler for Japan and samurai stories as it is, so I do carry a bias. The third and final story centers around the character of Torres, a fighter pilot and mechanic who gets drafted into World War II, fighting in the Pacific Theater. For me personally, I'd say that this is the weakest of the three stories, and I think the one that, while it had some awesome moments, this is where stretching believability in some stuff takes it to a whole new level. The first thing that I want to ask of you all is, did they ever establish if Torres was a mechanic first and then a pilot in the military, or the opposite way around? I don't know if anyone else watching caught that or not, but it was never made completely clear to me if he was a mechanic first or a pilot second, or the vice versa, but that's just something I wanted to know. Regardless, they kind of throw you into it with this one a little faster than the other stories. Torres is a guy who just wants to fly and nothing more. While out on the seas, he gets a chance to show it off because a group of fighters came back to the carrier destroyed, and one featured unidentified tech used to take them down. Once he figures it out, he realizes he has to intercept the group of other fighters sent out to take on an incoming group of enemy fighters. He can't join because his plane is not ready, but once he figures out the problem, he doesn't even hesitate and gets himself right out there immediately into the air to go back up their squadron. Once they deal with the enemy fighters, the Predator shows his ass in full force, as his version is using an actual Predator ship as his weapons for dealing with the people he faces. A completely new take on the battles we've seen between Predators and other forces, and I was all here for it. This was entertaining as hell, and again, besides the fact that Torres shouldn't be able to do certain things against this ship, they do at least pull the idea of what makes these battles so cool, when we follow our main lead figuring out how the Predator's tech works. Once he is able to figure out how the ship works, his one-up on this Predator was satisfying, and he walks away from the battle even though everyone else did not. We next see him in a garage back in the US fixing a car, only to then have a welcome surprise visit him from the other Predators as they take him aboard their ship, and this is where we get to the finale of the movie. This is an ending that I actually didn't think would go in the direction that it did, and I also didn't think that it would last as long as it did. Once all three of our main characters get acquainted, they are put into a battlefield on the Predator's home world where they must duel to the death of only one of them surviving. While this is all happening, they are being observed by what looks like the head Predator of the world, and he's very cool looking and brings a presence. Again, the believability of this ending stretches the bounds of what we should expect to see. Other than fighting each other, they also have to fight this giant monster, of which 10 times out of 10 should be killing these people who have lesser weapons hand over fist. Torres gets eaten up, but somehow doesn't die, and all three end up working together to defeat it in the end. Torres finds some way to disable the devices around their neck. Again, stretching the idea of believability that he would find some way to disable that. They hop on a hoverbike and ride their way up to the giant cliff towards the head predator and engage him in order to take control of a ship and escape. It's a good fight between all of them, and just as they are about to get on board, Kenji loses his arm and Ursa makes a sacrifice for them to escape, holding them off from pursuing. The head predator looks off in the distance where they are heading and orders this giant fleet of ships to go after them in a really cool ending shot. The very final scene that we get is of the predators escorting Ursa in a cryo box inside of this giant hull of other cryo boxes, and they pass by one that is a great Easter egg as we see Amber Midthunder's Naru from Prey inside her own box. It's a callback to the ending credit sequence of the Prey movie where they showed that the predators did come back to get her after she defeated her own predator. It's a good way to tie in the universe because I don't personally believe anything is going to come from that Easter egg. It's just a way to show what happens, and she is just the last person that we got to see do it like our other three characters in this movie. Ursa suffered that same fate as her, and now the question remains, what happens with the other two? Do they escape? Do we see them return in a future film? For right now, I would assume that that is going to be left open if they want to bring them back, but overall, I thought it was a cool way to end what I thought wasn't going to last that long for an ending sequence. The future of the franchise after this movie just got even better, and there's a big reason for that. This movie, along with Prey and Predator Badlands coming at the end of the year, is a great representation of how to properly handle a franchise after experiencing a major low point. For a while, Predator was a franchise that was dead in the water, barely worth caring for. Prey was essentially a slight rehash of the original film, just in a different time period. It gave the fans a great sense of confidence that the franchise was being handled right for once. Now, we have Killer of Killers and Badlands telling stories that fans have been wanting for so long. An animated anthology movie and a film where the Predator is the main character are all interesting and unique enough to push it forward just enough for a comeback. They could easily have just done what other Predator movies have done, which is to rehash the franchise too hard to where it'll feel like you're making movies off the brand name and for nothing more. I wouldn't mind seeing more animated Predator stuff, although I wish that the animated movement style was fixed. I'm just personally not a fan of the 5 frames per second and choppy movement style. That was my only other critique of Killer of Killers, besides some of the believability stretching it a bit. Dan Trachtenberg coming in to handle these films was such a smart move. I am just really hoping that Predator Badlands is good from Trachtenberg, and he can give us more juice to be excited for that eventual new AVP crossover movie coming in the future. The Alien franchise is also getting its due as well, and they have a TV show coming this summer, and I am just so excited to see both of these IPs bloom again. If they can both hold strong for now leading up to that crossover, that is going to be a cinematic experience for the time that we are living in now. And there you have it. That is my commentary and analysis of the Predator movie Killer of Killers. What do you all think of my analysis, and what was your favorite moment of the movie as well? Leave your comments down below. Thank you all for stopping by my channel. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you are new here, and turn on that notification bell. I'm trying to build a community on here, and your support would be appreciated. We just hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel, and I can't be any happier than I am now to see that number, and I hope it continues to grow. That's a wrap, folks. I hope everyone here has a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all soon for the next video.